Awesome. My name is Shrimi, and for those of you who don't know me, I usually live in the UK, which is a heck of a lot warmer than it is here. But it's lovely to be here. I'm slightly jet lagged still, but I think we should be able to get through without any glitches. So I had the honor of meeting this amazing lady that you just saw on the screen. She wasn't speaking Swedish. It was just a little bit longer for the sound to come through. Did you guys get that? Yeah. Okay. So, and for me, the vision that she had of how we can significantly impact public health across the globe really touched my heart. And so I was very, very excited to start this journey. You guys can hear me without a mic, right? Yes. Okay, awesome. So here's something I would love you to take a moment and consider. As you sit there in your seats, as you're thinking, listening, and breathing, there are 1 trillion processes going on inside of you without any conscious effort. Let's take the framework, shall we? That's your skeleton. 206 bones make up your body. That's 206 beautifully designed, perfectly positioned bones that will support your system, protect your organs, and enable movement. From the tiny bones inside your ears to the femur in your legs, they are masterfully engineered to make you who you are. Inside you, beneath that layer, is a bustling metropolis of life, a bit like New York City on a busy day, because an estimated 37.2 trillion cells are working inside you, each with a specific function to help you breathe, digest your food, and think your thoughts. That's over 5,000 times more than the people on this planet, all inside you. We take a look at your heart, the engine that drives everything. It will beat around 100,000 times a day, pumping more than 5 to 6 liters of blood every minute, taking nutrients and oxygen to your cells, getting rid of waste products. That's about 7,000 liters of blood every day, moving through over 60,000 miles of blood vessels inside your body. Your lungs will take about 20,000 breaths every single day. Your liver will process toxins and nutrients. Your kidneys will filter out about 50 gallons of blood every single day. And your brain, wow, weighing in at just over 3 pounds, is the most complex unit or object in the known universe. There has not been a computer that has been designed that will match the capacity of your brain. Every time you blink, every step you take, every movement is a masterpiece that's coordinated between nerves, organs, cells, and tissue. So the next time you look in the mirror, don't just say to yourself, that's just my body. No, no. It is a living, breathing miracle. So give yourselves a round of applause. So I want you to consider something now. Imagine that you were given a beautiful, brand new, state-of-the-art, top-of-the-range sports car as a gift, right? That beautiful interior, leather smell, gorgeous wheels, 4.2-liter engine, 0 to 100 in 30 seconds. And it's a gift given to you, and they say to you, you can drive this for the rest of your life and enjoy it. Who would like a gift like that? Anybody? Right. And for those of you with your hands up, can I ask a question? If you were given this gift, would you think about what kind of fuel should go into that car? Or would you just drive into any gas station and fill up any old fuel? See, if it was me and I was given this beautiful car as a gift, I would read the instruction manual and I would go, well, what kind of fuel do I put into this engine? And if it was the V-Power, high octane, whatever it was, then I would go and fill that up. Would you agree? Yes. I would wash the car, I would take care of it. But the reality is that you and I have been given a gift which is far more precious than a $250,000 car. This engine is priceless. And yet, most of us don't think about what fuel should go into this engine. Most of us stop in at any gas station, pick up a Starbucks, grab a donut, pop it in, and rush off. True or not true? Yeah? And so I was actually thinking, well, is this the way that we should live? Because a lot of people are busy. We have children to take to school, we have work to get to early morning, we don't often eat a good breakfast. And I know because that was me. As a busy mother, I had 2 kids, and I used to think that giving my children Wheat Bix was a better option than sugary cereals. Until I recently learned that there was probably more nutrition in the cardboard box than in the Wheat Bix. So I didn't know that. Turns out that every time I took them to McDonald's, which wasn't very often, I was actually increasing their risks of being out of balance in their bodies. I did not know that. Every time I fed them sausages and bacon and eggs and dairy products and bread, I was creating a higher risk of chronic inflammation. I did not know that. Now, recent studies have shown that there is a link between the omega-6 and omega-3 ratios, and you'll hear about them. They are essential fatty acids that the body needs, and that there is a link between that ratio and something called chronic inflammation. Has anybody heard of chronic inflammation? Yes? Okay, great, most of you. So chronic inflammation, if not checked and corrected, will lead to something called chronic disease. The top 5 killers in the world are heart disease, high blood pressure, stroke, diabetes, and dementia. If you look at the Australian statistics, you will see that the #1 cause of death overall is heart disease, and certainly in the case of men. But when we look at women, the #1 cause of death is dementia, or the #1 disease at time of death. So I asked myself, what causes that? Is it just because women will tend to live longer than men and therefore it happens? Or is there an underlying cause? Now, yesterday we had a phenomenal presentation from a menopause specialist who actually showed us that the fall in the estrogen and progesterone levels is created by something called LDL, which is actually considered a bad cholesterol. And so most women get put on a statin post-menopause because we want to kind of control cholesterol. But there may be a link now between the fact that we're trying to reduce our fat levels and losing fat to the brain. What is the largest fatty organ in the body? It's your brain. And if your brain does not have essential fatty acids as you age, it causes something called dementia. So I'll give you some other numbers which are a little bit more scary. My husband is a lead cardiologist at Guy's and St Thomas's Hospital in London. So he sees firsthand the trauma that families go through when a loved one is rushed through emergency with no prior symptoms and they have had a massive heart attack. And we're not talking about people in their 70s and 80s. We're talking about now people in their 40s. About 6 weeks ago, he got called out late in the night. It was a 37-year-old female, no symptoms, massive heart attack. Why is this happening? Look at the numbers. The average age of heart disease in 1980 was 65 plus. Today it's 49. If you look at diabetes in adults, back in 1980, 7.5 adults were diagnosed with diabetes. Today it is 21%. Look at the number of kids. That is a scary thing. If a child is diagnosed with diabetes, we have a potential pandemic on our hands. And then you can look at the rates of ADHD in classrooms. Now, these are global statistics, but the Australian numbers are not too different. In fact, when we look at what causes a lot of these problems, it is through chronic inflammation, is because we have an imbalance in the ratio between omega-6 and omega-3. This is what a good food triangle should look like. Predominantly lots and lots of fruit and vegetables, moving up to proteins, dairy, etc. You can't see any processed food in that pyramid. This is what a real family's pyramid looks like. There's a lot of processed foods. Now you might think you go to the supermarket, you pick up a loaf of bread. If you actually look at the ingredients in that loaf of bread, there's a lot of sugars, there's a lot of sodiums. And so we will find a lot of these things in our fridge and in our larders. And unless you actually make a concerted effort to find out what is it you're putting in your mouth, you're going to head down the path of chronic inflammation. So, the #1 country in the world for the highest intake of what we call ultra-processed foods is the United States. They eat a lot of takeaway, a lot of stuff that is pre-prepared, which doesn't have any nutrients. Ultra-processed food are defined as foods that have so little nutrients, they're not considered food at all. The United Kingdom, sadly, where I live, is the second highest country in the world for the intake of ultra-processed foods. Australia is #7. So we're not great. You'll see that Japan doesn't even appear on the list because they don't eat a lot of ultra-processed foods and have some of the healthiest people on the planet. So what can we do about this? Now, if you are sitting there the same way that I was sitting at a meeting in Oslo, Norway last year, learning about this information, I realized for myself there is no excuse for now saying we don't know, because now we do know. The World Health Organization estimates that 6.3 billion people on the planet are deficit for omega-3. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a pandemic. Now, we had a pandemic about 5 years ago, as you will recall, and in that pandemic, we knew about it because a lot of people died very quickly and there was a lot of noise. In this pandemic, chronic inflammation is considered the slow, silent killer, but it is nevertheless a pandemic. And so what can we do about it? Now, these are my 2 children. Back in 2022, they saw their granddad, who was fit, healthy, had no health problems, no heart disease, no blood pressure issues, no cholesterol, no diabetes, a fit and healthy granddad, have to move into a wheelchair overnight. He can't walk, he can't stand. He had a growth on his spine, which was unexplained and undiagnosed. Last year on the 29th of May, their dad, my ex-husband, had a cardiac arrest. He suffered severe brain damage and once again went from being perfectly fit and healthy, no heart disease, no blood pressure, no diabetes, no cholesterol, to now being in a wheelchair. He can't speak, he can't stand, he can't walk, and he cannot feed himself. Now, I can't help my father and I can't help their dad, but I can help them. So I have started to teach them that tiny incremental changes on a regular basis can transform your life. It doesn't matter what age you're at. So I teach them that changing their breakfast from toast and peanut butter to a small bowl of porridge and 5 blueberries will bring in them antioxidants and polyphenols. I've taught them that if they can substitute fish instead of chicken, they're going to get a little bit more omega-3. I've taught them that exercise can change everything. And I have been the person that's showing them this change because 12 months ago, I could barely walk up the stairs in my home in London without puffing and panting. 6 weeks ago, I completed a 120-kilometer cycle ride from London to Brighton. Thank you. We raised nearly £4,000 for the British Heart Foundation. Now, the miracle about this was not doing the cycle ride. The miracle was that next morning, I had no pain. I had no exhaustion. My knees were fine. My thighs were fine. And that is the miracle because there is no way I could have completed that unless my body internally at a cellular level saw some change. Because I am not an athlete. I never have been. I've never been somebody that could cycle more than 5 meters down the road. So this, for me, was transformation. This, for me, meant that I used to take 3 sugars in my coffee, and Natasha bought me a coffee this morning, and she was surprised. She said, "What? really? You've come down from 3 coffees? This is 3 sugars rather? This is amazing. This is slow, small changes causing significant transformation over 12 months. So, how does that all happen? It all started for me with a blood test. Because the time has come to an end where we need to guess about anything. There's no need to guess because you can test. And for me, the fact that you can take a tiny little pinprick blood test in the comfort of your home, send it off in the mail, and then receive a 21-page report which will tell you what's going on inside your body before you have any symptoms, gives you the power to make the changes you want to make. And the great news is we don't have to keep this to ourselves. We can actually get out there and share this with as many people as possible. Because the reality is, even though medical science has improved and increased, even though doctors are doing a much better job today than they did perhaps 50 years ago, more people are becoming sick than ever before on the planet. So medication is not going to fix us in the long term. Would you agree? Yes. So why wait until you're sick to then start taking medication which will have long-term side effects when you can do a test, find out what's going on, change your nutrition, and get on a path that works. And here's the best part. Not only do we have the ability to find out what's going on in your engine, but we have the V-Power high-octane oil that will actually help to fix that engine as well. And for me, that was the critical success factor. Being able to measure the reliability of something that works. Because we're not talking about airy-fairy things. We're not talking about people's stories. We're talking about test-based, scientifically accepted, medically recorded, evidence-based results which give you a black and white reading to say, this is who you were, I've taken this nutrition, we test again and see what is actually happening at your cellular level. Blood tests don't lie. End of story. So for me, that was the thing that really made a change. I've never taken supplements in my life. Why? How do you know they work? People spend thousands of dollars going to health food stores and buying stuff. They have no idea whether it works. This is the first time we can actually test a supplement. For me, that was really important. So we have a massive, massive plan, a goal to change a lot of lives. And for me, it was important to actually move that forward because we're not talking about, let me bring that slide back, we're not talking about small numbers. This year, we're about to hit 1 million lives changed. That's a huge impact. That means reduced blood pressure, reduced diabetes, reduced inflammation, reduced heart disease. It means that we can change things from high blood pressure to hypertension. We can change things from diabetes to dementia. But to reach 100 million people, we need you. We need a lot of people who actually decide to have better health, to grow old without disease, to be able to be there for their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren. People who will step up and say, I am not going to wait till I'm sick and then go down the path of medication. I'm going to find out what's going on and actually choose to become well. Does that make sense? So we are looking to be vibrant as we age. We're looking to be the super complex, amazing individuals that we can be because your body is a living miracle. And it is up to us to decide whether we want to use that gift that we have been given to the best of our ability. And that will take a lot of people. This is you and this is me. And I'm just going to say that if you feel your engine is a little bit run down, you feel that you might not be working at your best capacity. You might be feeling, you know what, I need to change something. May I gently suggest an oil change? Because that might actually fix the trick. So thank you very much, everybody, for being here today.